So for today's moneymaker, we have a very special one that I have been keeping my eyes on for quite some time. There's been so many moments where I've wanted to do this moneymaker, but every time I do a price check on the ingredients, it's just never worth it. It's never profitable. But for some reason, today is the day. I did a price check, and then for once it's actually profitable to make these pies. So yes, we will be doing 1 hour of making raw wild pies. Now you might be asking yourself, why are we doing them raw? Well, it's because the cooked version is a lot cheaper than the actual raw wild pie. These raw wild pies are actually used to train cooking and magic by using the bake pie spell. That's why there's such a huge price difference. So today we're just going to be making the raw variant. Now for this moneymaker, all you will need is the ingredients. There are 4. You need pie shells, raw bear meat, raw rabbit, and raw chompies. The method for this is very simple. All we're going to do is hit the X quantity option here, withdraw 14, and now our left click option is going to be 14 at a time. We're going to start off with the raw bear meat. So to start, all we're doing is withdrawing 14 pie shells and 14 raw bear meat. We will use one on the other. A menu will pop up. You'll hit the all option, click on this, and then it'll start making all of them. Once these are all made with the raw bear meat, and we have a full, stack of those, we can move on to the next ingredient, which is adding the raw rabbit to the pie shells, and then finally the raw chompies to the pie shells. And that's pretty much it. Now, since we are making the raw version of this, we're not actually getting any XP whatsoever, no magic, no cooking, but the GP per hour is pretty decent. Now, besides the money for the ingredients that you will need for this, you will also need 85 cooking, so keep that in mind. But without further ado, let's jump right in. So originally, before I was going to do this moneymaker, I was a little worried with how we were going to make the pies under the time limit. I guess the easiest way would have been to just get all the ingredients and make the pies in one inventory rather than do one ingredient at a time, because then there's the possibility that I would run out of time and I would have unfinished pies in my bank. But then I quickly realized that since there's only 3 ingredients that we're actually adding to the pie shells, all we have to do is add the meat to the pie shell for 20 minutes and then move on to the next ingredient. And then after 20 more minutes pass, move on to the next one, and it should work out perfectly. And to my surprise, it did. I think once we had all of the pies complete with all of the ingredients, we were left with like 10 seconds or so, which you could argue I could have, made a few more pies, but I think it's close enough. And plus, I was already happy that we had already made more than what the wiki recommended. And speaking of what the wiki recommended, it actually worked out in our favor because we definitely needed the GP boost. I was looking up the prices and the price history on GE Tracker for the wild pies because I was curious as to why now it was working. And it was because there was a huge trade volume yesterday, or I guess the day before recording this video. A whole lot of pies were traded, which made the price of the pies themselves skyrocket. I think they went from like 2K to like 5K at one point. And then they settled around like 3,000, which is what the price is right now. So that's why it's working. And it also made me a little worried because I thought that we would have to sit on these pies for a long time before they would sell. But towards the end of the video, you'll see that we still were able to sell them for a decent price right now. And like I said before, I had tried doing this moneymaker in the past, but it was just never worth it. Usually the chompies were way more expensive than what the market price showed. And of course, the wild pies just wouldn't trade as much. So it was pretty crazy to see them actually, be a reasonable price this time around. And I gotta say, this little moneymaker kind of took me on a nostalgia trip. Back in the day when I would play Runescape in my free-to-play worlds, I would like to make apple pies for money, and I guess you could say for fun as well. There was just something so satisfying about mixing multiple ingredients into one item and then, using that for whatever adventure I set off on, whether it was questing or venturing into the wilderness with my apple pies. But yeah, I don't know, making these pies was a very satisfying experience. I was almost tempted to stop making the pies here in the crafting guild and go to the cooking guild, since that's where I made the apple pies, since all of the ingredients are readily available. But I decided to save that for another video. Maybe in the future we will make a 1 hour of apple pies video. I don't even know if it's profitable, but yeah, I guess we can just do it just for the nostalgia. Feel free to leave one of your favorite moneymakers from back in the day down in the comments below. I'd love to read through them and I guess further extend my nostalgia trip. Now, if you're like me, you might be wondering what a wild pie even does, and it actually provides you with a nice boost as well as healing your hit points. It heals up to 22 hit points in 2 bites, and it gives you a temporary boost to your Slayer level by 5 and ranged by 4, so pretty helpful. Now, me personally, I don't think I've really ever used the boost because I'm a main account. I'm sure on an Iron Man it would be pretty helpful if you're trying to boost a Slayer level to get like a whip drop or something, but yeah, I've never really had a need to use these pies. I have received them though in the past before because I know you get them from the eclectic impling jars. Whenever I'm hunting for clues, I get plenty of those, so yeah. I also found it interesting that they released back in 2006 before OSRS was even a thing, and it wasn't until 2015 that they were made tradable on the Grand Exchange. So if that change was never implemented, then we wouldn't be making this video here because it wouldn't be a moneymaker. We wouldn't be able to sell the raw pies. But thankfully for us, they are tradable and they sell for a nice price because, like I said, they are used to train your cooking and magic with the bake pie spell. But with that being said, that is pretty much it for this 1 hour of making these raw wild pies. Let's go ahead and take a look at how many pies we were able to make and how much money we'll end up selling them for. So after 1 hour of making these wild pies, we're left with 840, which is more than what the wiki estimated, so that's always good. Total price check is 2.8 mil. Let's go ahead and head over to the GE and sell them all off. So originally I was going to sell them right below the actively traded price, but then I realized that these aren't really traded too often, so rather than just wait and potentially lose money on them crashing, I just went on GE Tracker to check what they would actually sell for and put them for that safe price. And as you can see, they all instantly sold. But if you want to try your luck and try to make a little bit more money, then try putting them for the actively traded price and being a little bit patient. Just remember that there's always a chance that the price of the items can crash and you might lose some money. But besides that, I was still excited to see that we made some pretty decent profit here. So if we take into account the cost of supplies, which was 1,885,800 GP, subtract that from the money we made, which was 2,661,120 GP, that gives us a grand total profit of 775,320 GP from 1 hour of making these raw wild pies. Not bad for a simple and satisfying moneymaker. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and thank you to all of my channel members. Once again, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next episode.